What is going on, everybody? My name is Japes and welcome to another FIFA 14 Ultimate Team gameplay video. I've frozen the screen right now so we can check out the squad that I'm using on the screen. I've got 3 5-star skillers in there. So in the back, I'm going to be using Gigi Buffon as my keeper. My 2 center backs are going to be Piqué and Chiellini. My left back, Constant. My right back, Montoya. My 2 center defensive mids are Daniela De Rossi and Alex Song. And then the 3 5-star skillers, you've got Bernard, and this was a non-transferred version of Bernard. He's with Shakhtar now, so we got Shakhtar's Bernard. We've got Carlos Eduardo, and we've got D'Alessandro. And then up front, we've got Vargas, who is in my 25 best players under an 85 rating. If you haven't seen that video, check out my FIFA 14 playlist. That will be linked in the description, probably as well as on the screen somewhere else. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the gameplay, exactly how it's going to look. So I will be playing, we just did the online search, and I come up against a guy by the name of The Master Bucks. He's an Australian YouTuber that came to the event as well. I think he had to travel something like 30 hours to get all the way from Australia to England, but I think he thought it was worth it. So he was also the dude sitting next to me for the event, so I played him more than a handful of times. And this was essentially this game I went into with the mindset that I am going to do my absolute best to see exactly how skilling works, to play with the skill moves as much as I can, spam them, fail them, succeed with them, and see all in all if they're going to be, if skilling will return, if skillers are going to have happy days, if there are going to be montages made on this game, or if it's really kind of quite difficult and it's not something that you should really be doing unless it's at a proper point in the match. And you can see that the Master Bucks had a pretty darn strong side on the screen right there. I saw Aguero, I saw Benzema, I saw Isco, I saw loads and loads of good players. Angel Di Maria, Xavi, and he's using Real Madrid's youngster Jesse Rodriguez. You can see I start off failing a skill move. No shock to that. But the biggest change that people are going to have to get used to as far as skilling goes is the left trigger can only be used for skilling when it comes to 5-star skillers. I'm talking about doing your Rabona fake, maybe your chop. I'm not too sure about that. And I got asked, is the running scoop turn still in FIFA? And I believe it is. I'm for whatever reason spacing on the exact time that I used it, but I want to say that I did use it, and you can use it with the 5-star skillers the same way as before, and it works out very, very well. But you can see nice little right bumper A pass right there, knocking it about. This was the 4-2-3-1 formation that I talked about just being loads of fun to play with, especially when you have a skill team, such that I do. And I saw a lot of people talk about the beta and Bernard, the 5-star skiller from Shakhtar Donetsk, and say, hey, this guy looks like he's going to be outrageously good in FIFA. He's got 90 pace, 5-star skills, 4-star weak foot, over 80 dribbling, something like over 70 shooting. He looks like he's just going to be a monster and a terror to deal with. And I kind of found that I much prefer D'Alessandro to him. You can see Bernard with the ball right there. I just fell my skill combination. Some of you guys will know, as some of you guys will not. I am by no means one of the best skillers out there. I'm an okay skiller. I can do almost all of the skill sequences and skill combos, but executing them, when it really matters isn't something that necessarily is my forte. And he's a little bit unlucky to send that shot wide with Sergio Aguero. I also, in this game, wanted to test out, essentially what would be, well, not exactly like a sugar and spice combination defensively, but a very, very strong defender with the very, very fast defender. And obviously Chiellini's got some strength on him as well, but I wanted to test that out and see exactly where that would fall in line compared to Piqué. Which one of them I would find to be a better defender in this team. Now he's using whichever side Aguero's on is just by far seems the stronger side, and I thought that was so unlucky not to go in. I thought that one was going to be gliding into the top corner for the first goal of the match, but it's again the Bucks on the breakaway. And you can see Constant right there. I talked about him maybe in a previous episode when I showed off the best formations to use in Ultimate Team. But Constant is I wouldn't say ridiculously good, but he seemed to be very, very strong relative to his overall rating. I want to say he was only 76 or 77 rated, but he's got all the stats that count, and he's a big outside back, which is, as many of you guys know, it's one of the things that I talk about in every FIFA, having outside backs that aren't tiny so they can actually win those back post headers. Constant did a pretty darn good job of doing that for me. So gonna chip this one out, or not chip it out, just a little pass over to the side, and that works more often than not. You can see Bernard's got a bit of free space up the line. He's gonna just tear away, but you see he gets a hand on him right there from PK, and PK just pulls him back like it's no big deal. And that's kind of what I was talking about with Bernard before. That 21 strength is really a bit of a bummer. Now, if I hadn't angled myself to go inside and try to round PK, maybe I would have been in better shape. But I decided that I was already past him, and PK gets a hand on me, and I am going absolutely nowhere. But no worries. Oh, I thought it was going to be no worries. I thought I was going to get it back. But this team maybe will have a few improvements. Daniela De Rossi, an absolute thunderbolt, just wide of the post. And he's actually a very fun player, very nice and well-rounded midfielder. You can see the ball physics, that dip on it just before it even gets to the keeper, and the Master Bucks playing with some fire right there. Manages to get it free and get it clear. Now he's using the 3-5-2 formation. He doesn't have the fastest center backs in there, so I knew I'd be able to exploit some of it down the wing. You can see Alex Song, just lovely work tracking back. He was in my 25 best under 85 rating as well. He just does, you'll be able to see in this game, his cleanup is just so good. He's always in good spots. His dribbling strong, his passing strong. He's a big guy. Just a very, very fun player to play with. And it's, again, I'm like, okay, Bernard's fast, and oh, that's the wrong skill move, and I'm just bullied off the ball so easily. So as far as skilling goes, some of you guys are going to be better at the skill moves than I am, in which case Bernard will be maybe a bit more useful for you, but I just found him to not be very forgiving for me. And I should have probably passed that, but I tried way too hard to do a skill move and end up just dribbling it out of bounds. So this isn't the gameplay that many of you guys will be used to seeing right here, but Vargas pops up in one of the best spots for a player to do. He'd done it a few times before, passing it short. I knew that opportunity would probably present itself again, and that is a very clean rainbow flick over his head. Now, you can kind of tell with how good a player is going to be dribbling in some instances on skill moves like the rainbow flick, like the roulette. When you get the demo that drops, I believe, on the 10th, you'll be able to test it out for yourself and say, hey, this guy's got really clean skills. This guy's got, I wouldn't say dirty skills, but he's got messy skills. And that's not the good kind of messy, like the world-class player. That's messy with a Y, which means not that great. And similar to the last gameplay that you saw on my channel, I'm doing my best to test out exactly which shots are going to work and which shots aren't going to work. You know, a shot like the one that I just took in FIFA 13 might have had a decent chance of actually, you know, being put on target and being, you know, debatably quite a strong shot, and that's those finesse shots. Oh my goodness. And I can confirm for you guys now that finesse shots have already been nerfed, so they are not this strong. EA has already said, whoa, that isn't what we intended for finesse shots to be, so they have been, I guess, downgraded, or they're not going to be as strong as you're going to see in these videos. Like the one I scored with El Shaarawy yesterday was just from a silly angle, and it flew right into the top corner. That was not EA's intention. But D'Alessandro, I talked about him before, probably my favorite 5-star skiller that I used. All in all in this game, Daniela De Rossi out wide to Bernard. Bernard, you know, I'm going to try the skills because I wanted to like Bernard so badly, and I spam them and I fail. It's not clever. It's not good gameplay, but it's something that I would encourage all of you guys to try at some point, getting the game, you know, yourself. Some of you guys are going to say, well, Japes, I don't even like skilling and I hate playing against skillers. I'd rather just play a quality game of footy. And I can agree with you guys on that. When the game drops, I will be, you know, for me, goal number one is always going to be to win the game. And a lot of times that that doesn't require doing skill moves. That requires more passing. However, you undoubtedly will get yourself into situations where doing a 5-star skill or some sort of a skill in general will be very, very beneficial for you. And that's just D'Alessandro cutting in nicely. He only has that 71 pace, but you can see it just doesn't really seem to matter. The best 5-star skiller in the game, without a doubt, was Ibrahimovic that I used, and that's big Chiellini in the 45th minute, nodding home a header to give me, I think that's a 2-goal lead at this point in time. But the pace doesn't necessarily make as big of a factor. And that's why I've tended to, I think, like D'Alessandro versus Bernard. Now, there are other reasons for this as well, because faster players, a lot of times, if you're not able to control, or you can get out of control with them really, really quickly, because you get up the pitch so much faster, and the acrobatic clearances are back once again this year, and that's holding left trigger to do that. For those of you guys that didn't know, in 13, you can do it in 14 as well. But I tended to be a little bit out of control with Bernard, and that's not to say that I won't be able to get him back in control, but with the changes to skilling where you can't hold, or where you don't hold left trigger to do skill moves anymore, you just use the right stick, sometimes it felt more difficult to execute the skill move because you weren't holding left trigger to get the ball in close control to begin with. And that's one of the things that, maybe we'll just take some getting used to. So 2-0 to the first half, not too shabby. And Daniele De Rossi, nice interception, but giving it right back to Isco. And he's using that 3-5-2. I think I mentioned this before. The 3-5-2 is still a very, very strong formation, and he'll get his chances without a doubt in this match. It's just a matter of when they come. But there's Carlos Eduardo picking it up, and I wanted to like Bernard. I said this before. I wanted to like him so badly, especially with Shakhtar being introduced into the game. Getting that 5-star skiller from the new league is always so, so fun. And if you guys want a full list of the leagues in Ultimate Team, I can do a video on that if you would like. If not, I will try to, I'll try to find a link to something that'll show you guys, but it would be a very quick video. You can see nice little McGeady spin right there, and Bernard burning past them. He feels so good sometimes like this, and then it's just shut down a little bit. But you can see there are those little bright spots where the pace does, really, really come in handy. But unable, or nothing to come of that one. I'm going to touch briefly on Pro Clubs right now. If you guys missed the video out earlier today, I took a look at the Virtual Pro and Pro Clubs, the way, all of it works, and the boost that you can have, which I think is just going to make a massive difference, and it's phenomenal. Now, your Virtual Pro, obviously, you'll be wanting to get those skills with him as well, and I've always found Virtual Pros kind of play a little bit more like Ultimate Team players than they do like pure head-to-head players, at least in the end. Like when you get your pro to that 90 rating or whatever, then things work out really well. And you can see another rebound falls right back to Karim Benzema on the screen right there, and he's able to essentially just tap that one in to cut my lead in half. Now, rebounds are kind of something on FIFA that the reason I included, or I'll say it this way, the reason I included Courtois as one of my best keepers under the 85 rating is because he has that 88 handling. And handling seemed to make quite a big difference in this year in terms of keepers not coughing up rebounds, because there seemed to be quite a chance at times that keepers were coughing them up. You can see a nice little bit of skill there. D'Alessandro, Carlos Eduardo, oh, you're free, you must score. And what a last gasp tackle, twice from the Bucks to get that one out. But I saw in the comments before as well, people saying, hey, this kind of looks like 13 gameplay. And I try to look at it, and for me, it does not feel like 13 at all. This feels like a completely different game once you get your hands on it. It plays out quite differently. I also saw some comments that said Ultimate Team looks really slow this year, and I think that's amazing. I've always thought that Ultimate Team is much too quick for what it should be. So I was kind of happy to see the downgraded pace. There you can see that scoop turn that you guys were asking about before. It still is in the game. But I'm kind of glad to see the pace, maybe a little bit slower than what it once was. Now, a lot of guys at the event in Guildford had played a next gen the week before at Gamescom. So I was kind of asking them, guys, what's the difference like? How does next gen compare to the Xbox 360 gameplay that we're, getting right now and what we're playing on? And they all said that next gen makes FIFA like a crazy different game. It makes it really, really incredible. And that's a lovely save again from the keeper. Now, I was and this is Gigi Buffon in goal, by the way. So I am thrilled, and I cannot wait to get next gen. I get asked to, Japes, which console are you going to get? Well, I will undoubtedly be getting Xbox One because of the the special content or whatever deal that EA put in place with Xbox, or with Microsoft, so that they have exclusive Ultimate Team content, because I'm sure that you guys will want to see that. But I will also look at maybe getting a PS4, depending if there are good tournaments on there, or that way I could play more of you guys when the game actually comes around. But there again, Bernard just gets bullied off the ball like a little girl by PK, and PK, for how slow he was actually a pretty good defender. And I would definitely recommend, if you get him, don't be shy playing him, because the only trouble I could see him having is with really, really fast, strong strikers, which I didn't tend to see. And I'd try something, and I completely fail right there. I wanted to do a Burba spin to like a little finesse shot around the keeper, and it just got away a little bit. You can see Chiellini just bullying Aguero out right there. Now, that's something you're going to have to get used to as well. The push and pull is a little bit, it can be unforgiving. And when I say it can be unforgiving, what I'm referring to is if you over push and pull, or you don't time it right, so where you're actually bullying and kind of brawling with the player, then you're going to just go flying right by him, and he's going to be on a breakaway. So defending is going to be, you're going to have to just be a lot more precise in 14, and I'm sure that's going to go for next gen as well as the Xbox 360. But the precision is something that is going to take, I don't know if it'll take some getting used to, but it might be a little bit frustrating for some to begin with. That fake shot is so different. It's so nice though that it hasn't been, it's been toned down. Montoya, a tidy little right back, the Barcelona Spanish right back. He's a gold player, at least in the version that I played. I can't remember what his rating is in the official stats that have been released, but he was a very, very good right back to have, and he's going to make Dani Alves's price go quite a bit down, which is always enjoyable. It gives us more options for La Liga, which is fantastic. That's always kind of one of those things that I feel like something can be missing sometimes with La Liga teams. You always get the Real Madrid Barca teams, and people call it a La Liga team. And more so, it's really just combining the top two teams in there. However, I expect to see plenty of those out here. The squads you'll be able to build with Gareth Bale, Messi, Ronaldo. Oh, it's going to be so tasty. Gareth Bale, I'm sure there must be a gameplay with him up on YouTube at some point, or already this weekend. But if there's not, I have some skill games that I use Gareth Bale in, so you guys will be able to get a look, and I'll probably put one of those out tomorrow. So if there's a skill game in particular that you'd like to see, I will do my best. I don't know if I played all of them. I played the majority of them. I'll probably show you guys one of the new ones that they've added on this year, because it actually really kind of helped me with my dribbling, which you guys might be saying, well, Japes, your dribbling is still kind of terrible, but it did help improve kind of just the feel. And I would encourage you guys, play those skill games right when you get your hands on the game, because they do kind of help, and it just definitely makes it a little bit easier of a changeover to 14. So that is going to be essentially the end of the video. He gives up possession right there. I hope the tips about changing over, I really do genuinely hope that this does help you guys out, and I hope the information is informative and what you're looking for. If you are looking for anything in particular, by all means, leave that in the comments section down below, and I will do my absolute best to answer any of your questions. If you did enjoy this video, a like or thumbs up is always greatly appreciated. It really does help me out. Other than that, make sure to check out the other videos on my channel and subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Japes, and I will catch you all next time. They've changed around the club invite system as well, but you can see these are some of the accomplishments on the screen. I haven't played a match with my pro club. At the end of this video, you'll see a few highlights from some of the matches that all 10 of us or 11 of us at the capture event played, and it was really, really fun to play the 5v6 with terrible pro touches. Your pro, it's going to be an uphill battle to start, because your pro's touches to begin with are going to be pretty darn